Hey everybody, it's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm looking forward to guiding all of you beautiful yogis and yoginis through today's yin practice. We're going to keep the practice for today on the lower body, so hips, quads, hamstrings, little space that we're trying to create in the knees, definitely the calves, ankles, and even our toes. Bring along some props, bring a block, bring a strap if you've got one. If you don't have a strap, it's okay. Maybe you've got like a long shirt or an extra pair of pants you can bring along, or a belt. If you don't have a block, grab a rolled up towel. We're gonna start in Savasana today, so laying down on our backs. We've got 2 minutes until our practice starts. If you'd like to come into Savasana, I think I'm gonna head there a little early. Otherwise, join us when you're ready. All right, 1 minute till we officially begin today's practice, but as we are going to start laying down on the floor and making sure that you have some space to bring those arms up overhead, because our first active passive posture is going to require that. Feel free to come on down. Well, hi everybody. It's me, Jessica, Health Fitness Program Manager from McLean, and I'm here laying down on the floor today to guide you through today's yin yoga practice. Thank you for coming. I hope you can hear me. I set the air conditioning to 80 so that I can slightly love myself in case it gets too warm in here. But let's go ahead and get started. Laying down on our backs, relax here on the back. Melt into your mat as much as possible. Once you've gotten down here and you've started to quiet your breath and your body, ask yourself once again, can you be even more relaxed? And I bet you can probably release a little bit more from the shoulders, take some tension out of your chest and belly, relax that lower back onto the floor a little bit more. If your back is hurting and you need to take a slight tent of your knees so you can just find that little tilt of your pelvis to find some relaxation, I encourage you to do what feels right for you. Awesome. Let's spend 1 more minute here just melting into the floor. Make sure your deep breaths are reaching all the way down to the bottom of your belly, inhaling in through your nose, and then exhaling out through your nose or mouth, just using your nose to cool down and slow down your breath. Can you make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale? And just start to decrease your heart rate. Ask yourself even, what is your resting heart rate? The best time to check that is in the morning as soon as you wake up. An average resting heart rate is between 70 and 80 beats per minute. However, the more conditioned that you are, the lower that your resting heart rate is going to be. I love sleeping with my smartwatch, which I'm not getting paid for this ad. But one of my favorite things is seeing my resting heart rate in the morning. And I definitely noticed that when I'm feeling a little bit more stressed, it tends to increase. My resting heart rate is normally in the low 50s, but if I'm not sleeping well, there's a lot on my mind, things will creep up to almost 60, and then it's time to find some ways to relax more, and this practice is great for that. Go ahead, inhale your arms up overhead, keep your hips square to the floor right where they are, and walk your legs over to the right as much as possible while still keeping your hips and your glutes at the center line of your mat. Maybe you cross your right leg over your left. If that's uncomfortable, you can always keep them side by side. And then bring your upper body over to the right as much as possible too. Can you keep your shoulders down on the mat? Keep breathing. We're gonna stay here for just one more minute. If you took a cross of those legs, use your inhale to lift and your exhale to uncross, and then gently walk your feet back to the center line of your body. Walk your upper lines back to the center line of your body. Shake it out, ground yourself down with the mat again, and walk your legs all the way over to the left side as far as you can with the space that you have while still keeping your glutes down on the floor. And then I'm bringing that upper body over to the left as much as possible. Just working to create a little bit of a noticeable stretch. Wow, that's feeling real noticeable today. So make sure that you don't come into a stretch that's so deep that you find that you're limiting your breath, that you're not still getting those very deep down belly breaths. And if you do find that your stretches become too uncomfortable or your breath becomes inhibited by the stretch, then gently ease yourself out, find a new place where you can still feel a little something something and hold right there. If you crossed your legs, uncross your legs. Once again, take your time, walk them back to the center line of your body. Bring your arms back to the center line of your body, and then go ahead and relax your arms down by your side. You can find a little bit of grounding with your forearms down on the mat. We're going to draw those knees up and just take a couple breaths here with knees to chest pose. Make sure you didn't cross your ankles. In fact, you don't need to draw your knees all the way in towards your chest. Maybe you even find that it's more comfortable to hold on from the back of your thighs. I want you to keep that lower back down on the mat for just about 3 more breaths. Just making sure you didn't draw those knees in so much that you lifted your lower back up off of the floor. On your next exhale, release the soles of your feet back down towards the mat and grab hold of your prop because we're going to come into a supported glute bridge. So as you press up into the soles of your feet, and lift your hips up, your knees are stacked on top of your ankles, and you place a prop right at your lower back, that tailbone area that we just had on the mat. And then your glutes can gently hang off the side of your prop. If you don't happen to have a block, you can always roll up a pillow, just working to find a little bit of a gentle lift of those hips, starting with a slight opening right here. One more full minute right here.
On your next inhale, press into the soles of your feet. Lift your hips up, remove that prop from below your lower back. Release your back down towards the mat, and then we're going to come into a single leg stretch. So you can keep your left leg bent if you want to. Send your right leg up towards the ceiling. Oh my gosh. If you're having trouble getting that straight leg, that's okay. You can have a slight bend towards your knee. Just make sure you're feeling some sort of a stretch towards the back of the leg. Maybe even a little bit of stimulation of the belly pressing into your thighs. If you want to, you could always use that strap to loop over your foot. We're just going to be here for a couple more breaths though. And on your exhale, go ahead, cross your right leg over your left. Open that knee out nice and wide, coming into a reclined pigeon or figure four stretch. We're going to stay here for 2 minutes. Just breathe it out. Feel that hip opening. If you don't feel anything yet, maybe just massage that area. Bring in a little bit of warmth. Even if it's a little bit tender. I know we talk about finding some stillness, but we're going to add a little bit of massage into today's class elsewhere. Sometimes just increasing the warmth within the space can also help you to find more space. Space. And while I'm sure that massage felt amazing, let's take our final minute here in stillness. So find a place that you can relax. Remember, you're focusing on the stretch happening throughout the lower half of your body. So relax and release your upper body into the mat as much as possible. Take the tension out of your toes as well. Working to open the hip, maybe a little through the glute, inner outer thigh, quad, hamstring, depending how tight your leg is. Next, we're coming into a rooted twist. So go ahead, stretch your arms out to the side. Deeply cross that right leg over your left. Work to create some compression of your right thigh, of the hamstring pressing into your left quad, and then gently roll over onto that left hip and release yourself over to the left side. If you're having trouble relaxing, feel free to, place a block somewhere under one of your legs. We'll hang out in this twist for 1 more minute. Take your time, carefully untwist, roll onto your back again. Might need to press into the left foot to reposition your back on the floor. Inhale your right leg up towards the ceiling one more time. Make some circles with your ankle in one direction. Make some circles with your ankle in the opposite direction. And go ahead, release that right leg down towards the floor. Press into both feet, lift your hips up, really find some grounding with that lower back into the mat. A gentle little draw in of your abdominal core. Keep your right foot on the floor. Inhale your left leg up towards the ceiling. Your choice if you'd like to have a pointed toe or a flexed foot. Find which stretch feels best for you, and then come into your stillness here. We've got 1 minute. Remember, you're keeping that lower back down on the floor. If you're not feeling enough of a stretch, you can always walk this right leg out a little bit further, or even a straight leg will really increase the stretch. For your last 30 seconds right here. On your exhale, go ahead, cross your left leg over your right and find the hip opener on this side, just working to stretch your knee towards the bottom end of your mat. Make sure that lower back is still down. Gentle contraction of your core and your upper body is as relaxed as possible. Relaxing your eyes, finding one spot to focus them, relaxing your jaw, relaxing your tongue. So feel free to use this first minute that we're here to massage that hip out, to massage out any tension that you might be feeling in your quad, maybe even a little in towards the glute, and then we'll find that stillness for the last minute. And I'm just bringing your attention to how much time we have, because I really want you to focus on your breath. The more you relax your breath, the more relaxed you're going to feel after this practice. So maybe you play a little breath golf. How many breaths does it take you to get to the end of this next minute? Find out right now. That's 1 minute. Hopefully you were able to count your breaths. Go ahead, deeply cross your legs, press into your right foot, and twist yourself over into this deep twist. Make sure you're once again working to get some compression with that upper thigh into your lower thigh. And remember, you can always place a block on the floor to help you relax into this stretch. You can turn and look over your opposite shoulder. Just make sure that your breath isn't inhibited by the depth. 1 minute left from right here. Can you get to the end of this minute with less breaths than it took you last time? Take your time, carefully roll onto your back again. Press into your foot, ground that lower back on the floor. Inhale your left leg up towards the ceiling. Make those circles with your ankle in one direction. Make those circles with your ankle in the opposite direction. We got one more stretch here on our back. So go ahead, draw your knees in towards your chest. You can take a moment and rock gently side by side. Give yourself a little massage. Maybe you massage by giving your knees a circle. Don't cross your feet though. If you're going for circle, change the direction of your circle. We're going to come into a quad stretch here next. So go ahead, take your left hand and place it on top of your right shin. And then reach with your right hand for the top of your left foot. As you exhale and bring the left foot down towards the floor. And then stretch that knee away from you. It's okay if the knee doesn't, if the back of the leg doesn't come down to the mat. Maybe your leg is still pointing pretty high towards the ceiling. But the closer you're able to get that sole of the foot towards your glute and stretch that knee that's on or towards the floor away from you, the bigger stretch that you're going to feel in your quad. 1 minute left right here. Continue with those slow breaths. So notice if when you're in a more challenging stretch, if it's harder for you to keep your delightfully slow breath golf count. And as you finish off each exhale, notice if you've brought tension back anywhere to your body and if you can relax. Take your time, bring your right hand to your left leg as you carefully bring that left leg up, and then switch. Right hand comes on top of the left leg. Reach down with your left hand for the top of your right foot as you release it down towards the floor, even dragging your heel closer towards the outside of the glute to feel more of a stretch on your right quad as your knee points away from you. Relax your upper body as much as possible. Keep that lower back and glutes down on the floor. One minute left. Take your time, carefully release, come out of this quad stretch. We're going to sit ourselves up, so you can either roll yourself over to the side and press yourself up to a seated position, gently rock yourself up, just find your way back to a seated position, or to a seated position as we started laying down. Hello. And then walk yourself back. Next, we're going to come into a seated forward fold. We're going to be here for a total of 4 minutes. You have an option to either just hinge forward, maybe even using a prop, especially if your lower back hurts, to help you find some lift. However, if you'd like to work a little bit deeper and come into your hips again, you can also go ahead and bend one leg. Yeah, I'll bend this leg first.
and then hinge forward. But make sure that you're not bringing your extended leg out towards the side. Just hinging forward right here. And if you have the flexibility, you can always come into a half lotus, working to bring the sole of your foot closer towards your hip crease. Oh, a nice massage onto that quad. If the stretch is too much for you, you can always sit yourself up on a prop, having your legs extended, just both legs extended probably. It's a lot easier if you're in a lifted position, especially if your hamstrings are really tight. You got 1 minute left right here. Can you create some big breaths through the back side of your body? If you took a forward hinge, use your exhale to press yourself up. If you went for more of a closed fold, go ahead, switch those legs out. Remember, both sides of the body are not the same. So it might not honor you to take any sort of a bend in this opposite leg. Take a look at where your front leg or legs are pointing. Do your best to keep them extended straight in front of you. So squaring your chest back towards your extended leg. Option to come into your half lotus on this side. Relax your breath. Make sure that your stretch has not limited your breath. Find some peace in the discomfort. Final minute. All right, if you took that forward hinge, go ahead, lift yourself up, extend that right leg out behind you, bring your arms behind you. Press into the floor, get a little bit of a chest opener right here after that rounding. And then as you bring yourself back forward, bob, windshield wipe your knees. We're gonna come into butterfly next. So go ahead, bring those legs in. If it's uncomfortable for you, if your hips are really tight, remember you can always place a prop underneath of your knees, even a towel so you're relaxed here. And then bring your hands towards your inner feet. This is gonna be so great. We're gonna spend 3 minutes right here, and you get to just massage the inner soles of your feet for 3 minutes. feel free to round forward also as much as you want to. So even while you're massaging the inner soles of your feet, you can still be applying a little bit of pressure into maybe your shins, maybe your thighs. Sorry, by your shins, I totally meant your calves. Maybe giving yourself a little massage of your toes. Because let's be real, how frequently do you hang around and just like touch your feet? I don't touch my feet very often, but I use them a lot. All right, we're coming into our last minute of butterfly. So if you can work into a stillness here for your final minute, absolutely go for it. Find what feels right for you. Just make sure that you hang out there. If you found a forward hinge, press yourself up. Go ahead, bring your legs together. We're gonna come onto our knees. Keep a prop nearby. Do, because next up is toe squat. So go ahead, tuck those toes under, maybe even press your toes towards the back of the mat. You can walk yourself back, and if you need to, you can always sit yourself onto a prop, be it lifted or lowered, but the more pressure that you apply, being low to the ground against the back of your legs, the more challenging this toe squat's going to be. 1 minute starts right now. So find where you can find a little bit of spacing your feet and peace. That's 1 minute. On your exhale, take your time, carefully come out, untuck your toes, go ahead, tap your feet on the floor gently. We're gonna remove this block from behind us, and next up we're gonna come into our ankle stretch. Again, for just a minute in our ankle stretch, walk your hands behind you. If you need to, you can keep those knees down towards the floor. Make sure your toes are pointing directly behind you though. And if you got it in you, we're gonna inhale and lift those knees up off of the mat. If this is too much on your feet, you might experiment with putting an extra towel or folding your mat under your feet. You can still get a great stretch while keeping your toes pointing behind you and just simply leaning back in this position. That also brings a lot more love and attention to those quads, which we opened a little earlier. All right, you're halfway. Keep breathing. I know these stretches, especially these last two, can be really intense. And if you find you can't make it through the full minute, that's totally okay. You can work up to it in little increments, a different time. But for now, we're asking you to find that stretch that you can hold for just 10 more seconds. Great. On your exhale, release those knees to the floor if they weren't there. Walk your hands forward. Great news. We're going to challenge ourselves a little bit and come into a plank next. So go ahead, bring your hands, palms underneath of your shoulders. Walk your toes back. Tuck those toes under just like you had for your toe stretch and hang out right here. If you do not have it in you to be in this straight arm plank, you can always bring your forearms down towards the ground. If that's still a challenge, you can bring your knees down towards your mat. Release those shoulders away from your ears. Take that rounding out of your upper back. Find that length through the crown of your head. You got one more super slow breath right here. Let's take it together. On your next inhale, send your hips up towards the ceiling. You can walk your feet in gently and then just pedal through your heels as I tuck my shirt in. In down dog, tuck my shirt in from the back too. All right, you can either pedal through your heels one at a time, getting a nice little stretch into our shoulders right now, which we haven't brought in a lot of love to yet today. Maybe you press both toes up at the same time. Just working towards getting those heels a little closer towards the floor. A big stretch through the back of your leg. Find what feels good. Awesome. Then go ahead, bend your knees. Bring your knees to the floor. You can bring your toes together. You can bring your knees together if you want to. Send your hips back towards your heels. We're coming into child's pose. Relax and release that head down towards the floor. You can keep your arms extended in front of you if you want to. You can bend your arms and relax them by your side to take the stretch out of your shoulder. Maybe you even choose to separate those shoulder blades a little bit, allowing the shoulders to round down towards the floor. Find what feels great for you today. We're going to hang out here for 2 more minutes. Bringing some love right here to that low back. So really think about using your exhale to create a little extra space down at that tailbone. More length through your spine. Big breath to the back side of the ribs. For our final minute right here.
2 minutes exactly. Go ahead, pull yourself forward, walk those legs back. We're gonna come into Cobra. You can keep your elbows, forearms down on the ground if you choose to. Oh man, or you can press yourselves up into a slightly more intense stretch. Maybe you even widen your hands just a little bit. We're going to be here for 1 minute. Relax those shoulders away from your ears. So if you lifted yourself up, but your shoulders came all the way up towards your ears, go ahead and release those elbows back down towards the mat. So you can find a little bit more length in your back, in your, just a piece of hair, in your spine, and a little less crunch, and even take that tension out of your glutes. All right, go ahead and make a little pillow with your hands. Relax and release your chest and your head down to the floor. Bend your knees and windshield wipe your legs right and left, right and left. Relieve any tension that might have built up in your lower back. We're gonna finish here on the floor on our bellies in alligator pose. But I'm gonna give you the option if it feels good for you, if your neck is feeling tight, if instead of just spending the next 5 minutes in Savasana with your head to the floor, if you'd like to turn your head to one side and get a nice stretch of your neck. In fact, if you do so, you might even choose to relax your arms down by your side to take any extra strain off of your neck, and then you can relax those shoulders down towards the floor. We'll spend 2 minutes on one side and then 2 minutes on the other side, and then we will be done together for today. So think of this as a Savasana on your belly, the same way that you would on your back. Complete stillness, just melting into the mat. If you're enjoying a gentle stretch of your neck, carefully take your time. On your next inhale, lift your head up, and on your exhale, turn your head to the opposite side. Relax that upper body as much as you can. Take the tension out of your shoulders and your upper back, your glutes and your belly. Relax, relax, relax. You're welcome to stay here on the floor for as long as you like. Maybe even roll over onto your backs for a traditional Savasana. But that's all the time that we have together today. If you do decide to get up, take your time. Move through a couple grounding stages. Don't be any sort of a rush. Thank y'all so much for coming to today's practice. If you have any questions or concerns about anything that I said or we did, I hope that you'll reach out. Till we're together again, continue to think good thoughts, speak good words, eat good foods, do good deeds. Take the time to nourish yourself from the inside to the out. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Namaste.